guys, welcome to the Movers Corner, episode 5. My name is Banele Shabalala.
And I'm Edwin Lebuso, and on today's episode, we're talking about entrepreneurship. And we have our very first guest. Guys, welcome Nozie. Hi, Nozie.
Hi, Edwin. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, Manele as well.
Yeah, I was getting worried.
I have to say hello to you.
All right, so thank you very much, Nozie, for coming on as our very first guest. And just to take our guests actually watching us right now through, who is Nozie? Why did you even come to the Movers Corner? Imagine the very first guest. Can you just enlighten our guys and let them know?
Thank you so much, Manele. It's an honor actually to be here on your guys' 5th episode of the Movers Corner. I've been following what you guys are doing, and it's riveting how you guys are thinking. And for me, the reason why I'm here basically is I don't want to say I'm a thought leader or I'm a think leader. I just have this creativity that I've recently myself discovered in me, and I think that's why I'm here. And I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. That's number one.
100%. And self-discovery, guys, is very, very key because that's when you learn a lot about yourself, and it gives you that confidence to do a lot of things. And Nozie, I think you are a testament to that, huh?
Yeah.
You are a testament to that. So, Nozie, where do you come from? Where are your humble beginnings?
Definitely, my humble beginnings, where I come from a location is Lalini called Willow Vale in the Eastern Cape.
Oh, Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
I was like, where's
Back in the days we had maps and we had to learn them, you would have known, but now it's fine, we can
Google, exactly, where Willow Vale is. Yeah, where Willow Vale is.
I gave up on geography a long time ago.
Yeah, but it's a very small town, very well-knit family, but even being there, I studied 5 hours away from home for high school in a collegiate girls' high. I enjoyed being...
Sorry to interject.
I'm thinking that too.
5 hours, did you commute every day or it was a boarding
No,
school?
I actually went into boarding school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think you should leave with the boarding school.
Yeah.
Because I already say like, I was 6 hours away, but I never leave with that. I like boarding school.
Women's Lally, 5 hours away from
By the time
going
by the time you got home, you're supposed to leave for school.
Yeah.
Oh no.
If it's 5 hours.
Oh no. I actually stayed at boarding school 5 hours from where I was originally, so I was used to the urban life as well.
Eastern Cape still, right?
Still Eastern Cape as well. So I still had a bit of the rural part and still the urban part as well.
Yeah.
Even from growing up, which I think assisted me a lot in opening up who I am and the possibilities that the world had as well. Because sometimes you find a lot of people who come from Eslalin or from the locations, you still feel, gosh, we don't know that. You know, we don't know how this goes. We don't know how this opportunity comes along. And I think sometimes moving away from your comfort zone or where you originally are from, it helps a lot. You know, it helps a lot. Okay, now with COVID, we have to really rely on YouTube, Google, the Movers Corner for information. Yeah, so it's important. Yeah.
I think for me, Nozie, the idea of entrepreneurship is interesting, and I think everyone dreams of being an entrepreneur, but the decision to, like, again, touching on comfortability, like if you're working, it takes so much to say, I'm turning my back against this whole stability and income, like guaranteed income, to pursue like a passion and to start a business. So in your experience, what were some of the nuances that you learned on your journey?
I think right now that conversation or the question you've asked me, it would have been different prior to COVID. And it's different now after COVID, because definitely I left work because I was very successful for my employer at that time, because I was succeeding in everything that I was doing in terms of the work that I was doing at that stage. So I abruptly left work and started off the entrepreneurship journey. But post-COVID, you know, sometimes you wish when you're like, and things are quiet, you're like, oh, I wish I could go back to be employed. But because of the passion that I have, you know. And I think it's that self-discovery journey that one must do while they're still working. Don't start that after you've left work, that you self-discover, okay, what are my passions, what is that I like? Because entrepreneurship, you start, you fail. You start, you fail. And those are the people, most people don't talk about the failures of entrepreneurship. It takes some time to get to that niche. And for me to see people who are working to actually start, even if it's after hours, you know, putting into something that they feel that they're passionate about, those are the people that I can applaud. Rather fail and get up while you're still there in under that employment, but still finding who you are.
Yeah.
To find your passions, I think that's the key to entrepreneurship.
I love that. I just want to throw a spanner in the works just a little bit over there. I love the fact that you're saying people should try, especially when whilst they're actually still at work. Guys, it's nice to have a safety net. But don't you think sometimes people know that, you know, it's like when you're in a circus and you're jumping from one pole to another, from one end to another, and there is no safety net. You seem to always have that extra push to go over the edge. But when there's a safety net, people will be like, yeah, you know what, even if I slip here and I pull back, there is a safety net.
Can I also layer on that, Vanilla? I think it's also, it happens in relationships as well. There's times where you are not fully committed. So it's like you're in halfway because you're scared, you're in between. But yeah, to Vanilla's point, I feel like in order for you to truly embrace this journey, the safety net needs to go away, because you know, if I don't do X and Y, it means I don't have anything to eat.
That's so true.
Yeah.
But the other challenge that I've found in my journey, especially being a coach, you know, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, I'm a motivational speaker, but the coaching part, especially when it comes to self-mastery, you have to find who you are. Where do you come from? Your family traits. There are things that I find that in the 3 years that I've started being my own entrepreneur journey, I've been mentoring and coaching people, and those people are succeeding. And I'd be like, when am I gonna be like getting the rate that I deserve, you know? And you find that the self-mastery journey that I started sort of like end of last year because of COVID. So COVID pushed me to sort of like do my SWOT analysis to the T. Not just half done, because sometimes we feel like, oh, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, but there are generational things that your family have gone through. For me, I started my journey, and it was like a whole can of worms of saying, don't do this journey, open up. So I actually even went into a depression state because my mom passed away, my dad passed away, I lost my car. It was as if so many things were going wrong, you know? But the one thing that I kept holding on was, I'm doing something that I love. And when I'm doing it for someone else, that person succeeds. And the success stories kept me going, you know? And for me then to sort of like do my own SWOT analysis, and it really, really started, I remember so well, in just after July, I started finding, what am I? Who am I? And to find that actually Nozie is I'm a creative. You know, I'm a thinker. There's a lot of things that I can. Even one of my team members was saying, Noz, I love the fact that I was doing a 20-day campaign. I'm still 2 weeks into it in terms of who I am and just coming out of my shell, because I grew up building my inner Noz, you know, a lot.
Yeah.
And I think because of the circumstances, the things that were there generationally, how my mom grew up, then she imposed her growth into me as a person. You don't find who you are. And until you do a self-mastery, and I think not having that safety net is, let me go and do a coaching session. As someone who's as an executive or an employee person, to find out who am I without my parents, without friends, just you as an individual and as a person. And I think that self-discovery of finding who you are, do that first. You know, then remove the safety net. I removed the safety net because I thought, if I can bring a tender for 96 million for this guy, and I'm not gonna even get a portion of that, why not do it for myself? You know, type of scenario. And I'm glad now I'm at a place of, you know, when you're in a place of depression, there's a lot inside of you. Even when you're interacting with people, it limits you. And from my physical move and just being closer to God, being closer to nature, I found that knot that I had inside of me has really been removed.
Yeah.
And because that knot now has been removed, I'm like, gosh, that same Nozie that I was 3 years ago, who was hunting and getting that, and actually now being more of a farmer, because you have to farm to be the best salesperson or the best person to get in the sale, is back. And I'm so glad that I'm at this time, I'm here at this show on episode 5, and I'm a Nozie who is in this place that I'm at. So I want people, before even maybe jumping, do a self-mastery course, find out who you are. And if it means you doing it again, because sometimes you find someone within the 3 months, it's not meat enough, it's too skeleton. What is it that they want? What is it that they... but the more you pursue, the more you look inside of who you are as an individual and as a person, you really find that thing that God designed you for at the beginning of the universe.
I love it. I love it. I love the fact that you're stating that people need to actually find themselves. The self-mastery course, guys. If there's anything you need to take back home, self-mastery first.
Yeah.
Don't just jump into
thing you must take is that we are riveting. The show's riveting.
Oh, riveting.
The show's riveting. So second thing you should take home. But yeah, self-mastery course, I think that's quite key.
I'm actually loving that, and the fact that you are saying that, look, it's not always rosy.
Yeah.
And there will be tough times, and it seems like, unfortunately, when you're seeing the successes, they only show you what made them, not what really made them, but what they succeeded in when as individuals. So for instance, if I were a millionaire now, I would show you the things that are very successful that I've done, but I would never show you anything that I actually failed at, to let you understand that, look, I am also a human being, and that's what you've actually done. You've looked at it, looked at entrepreneurship. You've been parcel of the entrepreneurial journey, and you're dressing it up as a human being. You're not becoming this high almighty and all of that. And thank you for actually.
That is so true. And I'm telling you, you even start seeing the markets that you're chasing in a different way when you know who you are. Sometimes we always say in what niche, who are you chasing with the product that you have? Who are you looking at? And sometimes even the market that you're chasing is not the right market if you're not in the right space. True. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you're only seeing it from the place that you're in. So change your position internally. And for me, that self-mastery course has just, it's like a puzzle piece, and you just get that puzzle correctly, and it starts with me first before even taking that out there. Yeah.
On that part, self-mastery and discovery, what are you and what were you actually the highest points and things you actually celebrated along your journey? What are you proud of? What would you look back and say, this is it, or this is what I'm currently doing and I'm loving it? What were your successes?
I think before and being employed, I think the success of being employed as a receptionist and leaving a company as business and customer relations for the whole of South Africa was really quite a successful high point for me in my life, because it was just about self-development, getting to that point. But now, to actually see someone who's done a self-mastery course, found who they are, and later on discovering themselves, it's like everything just falls into place. And it does not mean that falling into place is instant. It takes time. For example, I've had a lady who's done a self-mastery course in 2018. They were one of the first cohorts that I had that I was training. In 2019, they were just going about their own ways, but knowing who they are. So their positioning in terms of who they are, they already knew. By 2020, it's like the universe just attracts. Even the partner that had left 7 years ago, but she knew deep down, I've already got a child with this person, so I wouldn't want to have a child with someone else. That guy all of a sudden came, he's interested in paying in lobola, paying for her courses to do what she's passionate about, She's done what she's passionate about, found it now, and her business is thriving, And she will always say that because I did that self-mastery course, the course of my life journey is worthwhile. And one of the things for me is I always talk about is we always get our birth certificates when we're born, right, at Home Affairs. But no one gets a birth certificate for your passion, your giftings. Those are the things that you have to find as you go along. You know?
That's deep, yeah.
Those are the things that you find as you go along. And for me to see people just, you know, it gives you a new hope, it lifts you up, it lifts your mood. And people around you might not even know or not even see the tangible things, but you know where you are and where you are standing. When you wake up in that morning, when you brush your teeth, how are you feeling? For me, I didn't realize I had a knot inside of me for the past 3 years because of the depression that I went through. It's not nice to lose a parent, you know? It's like, until you lose a parent, you really pain, guys. It's like, it's painful. It's really, really is painful. And that one thing led to another thing, and that one piece of me moving to a new area, I'm telling you, I get to hear the sea when it's roaring at night, the different paces. It's made me closer to God, but I found that thing has melted away. You can put me in front of anyone in the world and I'll be able to be myself. You know, and that's the journey I think people should start moving towards to and finding. And that is the one thing that will even displace you from generational curses, you know. There's so many things that I could go into, you know, but for me, that's the best thing right now, is seeing that change to other people. And I'm so glad I found it for myself as well.
We're so happy you did. Actually, when she speaks about when the universe comes, just everything seems to come together. It reminds you of the book, The Secret. The Secret.
It's also, I think, we also referenced, I think, episode 2, The Alchemist as well. It's whatever if you truly desire something, the universe conspires to make it happen. I think for me, the biggest takeaway, Nozie, is self-mastery. And it's perfectly named or labeled, right? Because if you don't master yourself, like you said, if you don't know your true self, not the superficial self, not the I want to drive a C60 thing, but who is Edwin and who, like, you know, what ticks and what doesn't. And I think that's where one also finds a sense of contentment, and you can now pursue things like with genuine, like, sort of focus and desire. So
that's so true. And I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, when you get that CK and it says you are a director, most entrepreneurs don't really believe that they're directors as well, you know? So it starts there, that journey of even knowing that if you know yourself as you've mastered yourself, even when that title of saying I'm a director of this company that I have, a lot of people, when you put them as a director in front of let's say maybe an exco or menco to have to present what they have, they will fumble because they don't know who they are. So it starts there. That's the foundation of the self-mastery. Now you're a director. And I always talk to entrepreneurs from that level of saying, know who you are. Know your stand. And if it means that as a director you can't speak properly, go and coach yourself to speak properly. If you then don't know that you feel confident in your subject matter, then I train entrepreneurs. I call it business preparation plan, one of my courses that I do. And it's just, I don't want people to go out and get business plans because you can get a business plan under that marketing or that topic that you're doing without you knowing it from yourself. So prepare it first by yourself so that you can be able to talk about the subject matter that you're selling, you know, because if you're selling something that you don't know about it, no one's going to buy, and it's going to frustrate you on your journey that you're going through as well. So it's just going back to the entrepreneurship field and just know who you are. And I think for me, people always say, you're CETA accredited, are you, I'm CETA accredited as a mentor and coach because it's relevant for the South African market. But when it comes to my courses, I really believe I offer a layer that is the foundation, just before you then go and get yourself to be CETA accredited. First, know who you are. And a lot of entrepreneurs, once they get to know themselves, they flourish much, much more in their businesses. So for me, I don't want it to be a paper company. I want it to be you company, you know? And there's a difference there.
I'm actually loving this. And just for clarity, you do have a website and all of this, right?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
My website is www.nozibele-solutions.co.za.
And we'll actually put it on the link, guys, so you can go ahead and self-discovery is quite key. Maybe I might just take on a course. One of these days.
100%.
Definitely.
Why not?
I think for me, Nozie, if you were to go back in time, say 10, 15 years, well, what would you tell that Nozie?
I've had this question asked to me before, and I always go back and I'll say to that little Nozie 15 years or that little Nozie to say, you're significant. You know, I struggled a lot in finding myself as a significant individual in life because you're too dark. You're this. You come from this country in Africa. I don't want to mention any names, but the photos I saw of that country were like, oh my gosh, there's nothing exciting in this country at all. So I internalized a lot of things, and I think I worked myself so hard to prove myself that I'm worth it. You know, whereas I didn't need to work so hard to prove myself that I was worth it. I was worth it from the initial get-go. And I think really, really that word or that muscle of significance I lacked for a very long time. And I'm working now on just working on my external self, getting out there, and
keep a mask on.
Third wave.
Yes, third wave.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. I do believe that, look, end of the day, we all have different journeys, and your journey is actually very interesting, I will not lie. Especially when you look at where you've come from, what you've achieved, and what you are yet to actually achieve. And especially from the spiritual part. And when we say spiritual, guys, it's basically your belief, self-belief. Because it actually starts from the I. And when you talked about people having to actually, or directors having to learn exactly what the business is about, and then preparing the document themselves, it's a testament to the notion of when people say, would you be comfortable if you went into hospital and the doctor that you were supposed to operate on you didn't necessarily do the exam themselves? Would you be comfortable with going for heart surgery, for instance? I think I'd probably take my chances if I had the option, if I knew that. So that's actually testament, and I think I love that. If there's anything I've actually taken away from this part, whereby you going back and I'm looking at it, it will be definitely that self-mastery and do it yourself, and it will actually give you the confidence to actually propel and actually move on forward.
Yeah, but definitely within your business, you do need a team. You do need to work with other entrepreneurs who are like-minded. A lot of the time I work with third parties. I never employed people within my business. I work with other entrepreneurs to give me the services that I have. But obviously the business is growing as well. I've got 4 people now working obviously remotely, being part of Nozie Solutions, and I'm raising up as directors within my business because we have to grow and take it to the next level. But for me, when it comes to you knowing what you're offering, know it well. Someone can sell you a business plan that's already ready, but now you have to present that, you have to sell that to people. And if you cannot stand for it on your own, then you're not a director for me. You're just director on CK, you know? So, you know, so you really have to put yourself out there in terms of set yourself apart from everyone else, and I think that's where the competition really is at. Yeah.
Cool. I think for me, it just in closing is what my biggest takeaways. I think what you touched on, going back to telling Nozie she is significant. I think that's quite key, and I think that's a burden that most entrepreneurs and most people carry on a daily basis. So we always mask it with whatever it is, whether it's jewelry or expensive clothes or certain behavior which is not exactly, we just mask it around that, but deep down there's a sense of insignificance that we feel. I think that was quite key for me to say, just know that you are significant, but that doesn't mean you rest on your laurels. You'll still push just as hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, the self-mastery, I think it's something that it's key for everyone.
Yeah, and for me, in conclusion, you have to look at your life holistically. In everything, there's always part 1, part 2, part 3. You know, there's always the foundation phase. There's always a second layer as well. So for me, that self-mastery for any entrepreneur is the foundation, key to find out who you are. What is it that you're passionate about? It limits even the failing too many a times as well. And then the second layer would be, how then do I carry this business? What is it that I'm having in this business actually? And sometimes businesses, we even look at, I have to get a code of road tender, but there's customers, there's always people looking for something. In South Africa, there's about how many people? Billions.
60,
Billions
60,
of people. And if whatever product that you're selling within as an entrepreneur, you're getting some market share in it, then you're in a good space, you know. And really, just I want people to be whole, you know, in any stage of their lives that they're in. And it's possible. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nozie. And by the way, guys, if you're a statistician, whatever, you do stats here, and you were thinking, where did she get the billions? Guys, we're online, so yeah, it includes those billions. We are a few millions in the country, but overall, trust me, it's billions. And do remember that whatever product you do and whatever you do, it's not only for the South African markets, it's now we've become fully global. It's globalization. And on that note, guys, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Shout out to all my Nkamana peeps once again. I was not going to stop.
Oh gosh.
I'm not going to
There's
end
always
on-
an Nkamana plug every episode.
Hey, those guys are jogging today.
This is
Sorry guys, I would have joined you, but you know, I had to do this.
And yeah, Nozie, it was a riveting conversation.
Thank you, guys,
thank you
for
so
having
much for
me.
coming through. Hopefully we'll have you again soon.
Thank you so much.
And all the best for Nozie Solutions. And guys, click on the link, go ahead, register. It is going to help you a lot.
Go master yourselves, guys.
Until then, thanks for watching TMC. Cheers.
Bye. Cheers.